At the 1980 Golden Globes, Peter Sellers won the award for Best Comedy Performance for his role in the satirical comedy drama Being There, and received an Oscar nomination for Best Actor. These honors marked the end of a career that began when he was just 2 weeks old, as he was brought onto the stage at the King's Theatre in Southsea, Portsmouth, where he was born. His parents were variety performers who were often on tour, sometimes leaving their only child for weeks. This led to a dysfunctional childhood that foreshadowed a life filled with mental health struggles, tumultuous relationships, and outbursts. Despite his mother's controlling nature and Peter's extreme shyness, they shared a close bond, which his friend Spike Milligan later described as unhealthy for an adult. Additionally, Peter was named after his stillborn older brother, a fact that may have contributed to his complicated feelings toward his mother. After serving in the Royal Air Force during World War II, Sellers decided to pursue a career in entertainment. To secure an audition with the BBC, he impersonated popular radio host Kenneth Horne, impressing producer Roy Spear and earning a regular spot on radio. By the late 1940s, he teamed up with Harry Seacombe and Spike Milligan to star in The Goon Show, a groundbreaking radio comedy that ran throughout the 1950s. Its surreal humor influenced many, including a group of Cambridge students who later formed Monty Python. When The Goon Show ended in 1960, Sellers was married to Australian actress Anne Howe, had 2 children, and had started his film career with roles in movies like The Lady Killers, alongside his idol, Alec Guinness. Sellers' shyness evolved into insecurity, making him doubt his chances in Hollywood and causing him to neglect his family. In 1960, he took a role in The Millionaires, publicly stating it was because he would star with Sophia Loren. However, he confessed to his wife that he had fallen in love with Loren, even waking his young son in the night to ask if he should divorce. This was likely a conversation better suited for a therapist than a sleepy child. He later claimed he never wanted to see his kids again after asking them which parent they loved more and not receiving the answer he wanted. The couple divorced in 1962, and while his personal life fell apart, his career was about to take off. Is that the movie called The Pink Panther? Who stars in it? Peter Sellers. We need to find that woman. Sellers' portrayal of Inspector Clouseau in The Pink Panther drew comparisons to Charlie Chaplin and Buster Keaton, earning him nominations for a Golden Globe and a BAFTA. He largely created the character himself, making it his most famous and lasting role. His performances in 2 Stanley Kubrick films, Lolita and Dr. Strangelove, solidified his status in Hollywood. Dr. Strangelove particularly showcased his versatility, as he played 3 different roles, a skill he honed during his radio comedy days. Sellers held great respect for Kubrick, unlike some other directors he worked with. As his mental health issues grew, he turned to superstitions for support, consulting astrologer Maurice Woodruff and believing he was guided by the spirit of a music hall comedian named Dan Leno, who died in 1904. At the peak of his fame, Sellers developed an unusual aversion to the colors green and purple. He refused to wear green or act with anyone dressed in green, and his publicists had to screen hotel rooms for any purple items to avoid provoking his violent outbursts. Sellers married his second wife, Swedish actress Britt Ekland, just 10 days after they met. Despite their 19-year age difference, Sellers quickly became jealous, controlling, and paranoid. He dictated what she should wear and insisted she spend all her free time with him. While she was filming a movie in London, he even had a doctor falsely claim she was too ill to continue, resulting in her abrupt firing and increasing her dependence on him. His troubled relationship distracted him, leading to a particularly difficult time on the set of Kiss Me Stupid, where he began arguing with director Billy Wilder. One night with Ekland, Sellers inhaled amyl nitrates as an abuse stimulant and suffered an astonishing 8 heart attacks within 3 hours. Although he recovered, he had to withdraw from filming. Wilder showed little sympathy for him. The production of the 1967 film Casino Royale, a parody of James Bond, was chaotic, involving 6 different directors, numerous writers, and a soaring budget. Sellers was frustrated that the film had turned into a comedy, as he wanted to star in a serious Bond film. Biographer Roger Lewis noted that Sellers continuously rewrote the script to make his character more heroic and less of a parody. Orson Welles called him an amateur, and soon both actors refused to appear in the same scenes. Sellers even punched Joseph McGrath, one of the directors, after McGrath criticized his behavior. Ultimately, Sellers left the film before it was completed, further straining his marriage to Eklund. His next film, The Bobo, featured both Sellers and Eklund, and was predictably disastrous. After constant arguments, Sellers ordered the director to fire Eklund, who admitted their marriage had become a terrible sham. During filming, Sellers' mother suffered a heart attack. Caught up in his own issues, he did not visit her, and she passed away days later, an event from which he never fully recovered. To make matters worse, Eklund divorced him shortly after. In the following years, Sellers made a series of poor career choices, resulting in numerous flops and disastrous romantic entanglements. In 1970, still in the throes of a midlife crisis, the 47-year-old Sellers married 23-year-old model Miranda Quarry, but the union was short-lived. By 1973, their marriage was failing, and Sellers became involved in a tumultuous affair with Liza Minnelli. The couple was so infatuated with each other that they became engaged just 3 days after beginning their romance, even though Sellers was still married and Minnelli was engaged to someone else. However, their intense relationship quickly fizzled out within a month, though Sellers proceeded with his divorce, which was likely for the best. During this period, friends began to express concern that Sellers was experiencing a nervous breakdown. When TV host Michael Parkinson invited him to appear on his show, Sellers felt insecure about going on without a character to portray, so he dressed as a Gestapo officer for the interview. In the mid-1970s, Sellers attempted to revive his declining career by starring in several more Pink Panther films. These films brought him financial success and renewed recognition, but his temper tantrums worsened as he aged, while his romantic partners remained significantly younger. In 1977, he married 23-year-old actress Lynn Frederick, who struggled even more than his previous partners to handle his outbursts, according to biographer Roger Lewis. In 1979, Sellers had a significant opportunity when he starred in the acclaimed comedy Being There as the Naive Gardener Chance. He fully committed to the role, avoiding contact with co-stars and journalists during filming. His dedication paid off, earning him both a Golden Globe and an Academy Award nomination. However, as was typical in Sellers' life, his success was followed by turmoil. After the film was well received, he asked his 15-year-old daughter Victoria for her opinion. She jokingly remarked that he looked like a little fat old man, which sent Sellers into a rage. He threw his drink at her and demanded that she return home immediately. When his eldest daughter Sarah criticized his behavior, he sent her a telegram that marked the beginning of a long estrangement. Despite friends urging him to seek medical help for his heart issues, Sellers refused assistance, even after suffering multiple heart attacks. He collapsed on a film set in Dublin but was in Cannes just 2 days later. On July 22, 1980, Sellers planned to meet his old friends Spike Milligan and Harry Seacombe for a reunion dinner in London. However, he never arrived. That afternoon, he suffered another heart attack at his hotel and died 2 days later at the age of 54. At his funeral, he played one last practical joke on his friends by insisting that Glenn Miller's In the Mood be played, a song they all disliked. There were indications that Sellers had been trying to exclude his wife Lynn Frederick from his will due to his dissatisfaction with their marriage, but he died before finalizing any changes. Consequently, his children inherited only £800 each from his multi-million-pound estate, while the remainder went to his wife, who refused to increase their share. Britt Eklund later speculated that Sellers might have been bipolar, but he was adamantly opposed to seeking professional help. Sellers was undoubtedly a complex and enigmatic individual with a troubled self-image. When he appeared on The Muppet Show 2 years before his death, He chose not to appear as himself, but rather in various costumes and accents. When Kermit suggested he could simply be himself, he responded, "I could never be myself. You see, there is no me. I do not exist. There used to be a me, but I had it surgically removed." At least he didn't dress up like a Nazi.